There is no comparison in my mind. The 2000-2001 Miami team that beat Nebraska, that's the best college football team of all time.
Do you consider that team to be the best college team to ever do it, or one of the best?
Yeah, I always say we were the best.
Man, it's the Hurricanes, and it's not even close, Jenny. This is not even close. Of the 22 starters that started that night for the Hurricanes, 11 of them were first-round draft picks.
For 2 decades, it was universally accepted. The 2001 Miami Hurricanes were the greatest college football team of all time.
Looking to the end zone. Touchdown, Shucky.
Then the 2019 LSU Tigers entered the chat.
Burrow fires, and it's caught by Justin Jefferson for the touchdown.
Joe Burrow, 60 touchdown passes, 15-0, beat 7 top 10 teams, a Heisman Trophy winner, an offense that averaged 48 points per game. LSU fans started saying it. We're the best team ever. But here's the problem. They're wrong, and it's not even close.
Your Miami team or the 2019 LSU Tigers? Me and Clinton Portis had a whole argument about this.
They ain't close, man.
LSU, I knew it.
Nah, Miami.
Because the 2001 Miami Hurricanes didn't just dominate college football, they broke it. 38 NFL draft picks, 17 first-round picks, 13 Pro Bowlers, 2 Hall of Famers.
You know, a dominant team in the Big 12, and it was just one of those, when the game started, it looked like an NFL team, which, looking at the roster now, that's pretty much what it was.
They outscored opponents by an average of 33 points per game. Their defense allowed 9.8 points per game, and they went 12-0 without breaking a sweat. So let me ask you something. If you could build the perfect college football team, what would it look like? Dominant running backs? Check. Best offensive line in the country? Check. A defense that ends careers? Check. The 2001 Miami Hurricanes had all of it.
Now, if I give you the 95 Cornhuskers, the 04 Trojans, 88 Notre Dame, 2000 Oklahoma, where would you rank that 2001 Canes team?
Number one. Number one. I just can't see a weakness in that football team.
And they proved it on the biggest stage. Drop a comment right now, Miami or LSU, who's the greatest team ever? And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss breakdowns like this. Let's start with what made the 2001 Miami Hurricanes so special, because this wasn't just a good team, this was an NFL roster playing college football. They were so good that their starting running back said this.
I kid you not, I remember when I got to Denver and seeing our team and realizing the team I played on in college was better. And y'all used to give me a hard time because I was Miami all the way. Well, sleep. I believed in us.
Imagine being so good that an NFL player believes a college football team was better than the Broncos. That's crazy. Head coach Larry Coker took over in his first year, and all he did was go 12-0 and win a national championship. But it wasn't Coker who built this team. It was the culture, the swagger, the mentality that Miami had been developing for years. This was the U, and in 2001, they were at their absolute peak.
I feel like we bonded a lot going into that 2001 season.
We had that mentality of, okay, you may get a run, but I promise you for the next 60 minutes, we're gonna kick your ass.
Even just summer workouts, man, the way guys came in and worked their butts off, man. And it was just, it was either win it all or it was nothing.
Let's talk about the offense first, because people forget how explosive Miami was. Quarterback Ken Dorsey, a junior, threw for 3,000 yards and 26 touchdowns. And right about now, some of you are probably thinking this.
So you just made a case for the greatest team ever with Ken Dorsey at quarterback? You're disqualified.
But here's the thing. He was steady, smart, and he had weapons everywhere. At running back, Clinton Portis rushed for 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. But here's the crazy part. Portis was good, but he wasn't even the best running back on the roster.
The first 5 passes that Berlin threw. Here's Gore finally getting some open space, and Frank Gore down the sideline.
Behind Clinton, Portis was Frank Gore, just a freshman at the time, who rushed for 562 yards on only 62 carries. That's 9.1 yards per carry, before he'd even fully developed into the back we'd later know. And if you somehow stopped him, Najee Davenport was next. And behind Davenport was Willis McGahee. 4 running backs, 4 future NFL starters. Every running back on the depth chart went on to start in the league. That's not depth, that's a cheat code. And the weapons didn't stop there. At wide receiver, Miami had Andre Johnson, a future 7-time Pro Bowler and one of the most physically dominant receivers of his era.
Dorsey, complete over the middle to Andre Johnson, gets away at the 35. There goes Andre Johnson. He's turning on the Jets. Chased by Nate Colon, and Colon will run him down inside the Rutgers 20-yard line.
At tight end, Jeremy Shockey, a 4-time Pro Bowler who stretched the field and punished linebackers. On the offensive line, Bryant McKinney, the Outland Trophy winner at left tackle, who didn't allow a single sack all season. Every one of them didn't just make the NFL, they thrived there. That dominance showed up in the numbers. Miami's offensive line allowed just 4 sacks the entire season. 4. And with that protection, the offense averaged 43 points per game. Which sounds incredible until you realize the offense wasn't even the scariest part of the team. That honor belonged to the defense. And this is where the LSU argument truly starts to fall apart.
I'm hurt, dog. Don't ask me if I'm all right. Hell no. Joaquin said dominate, and we not doing it. I'm putting my heart in this dog. Let's go, man. Let's go, baby. Bro. Let's go.
Miami's defense allowed just 9.8 points per game, the best mark in the nation. In fact, if Miami's offense had never scored a single point all season, the defense alone would have finished 8-4 purely off touchdowns. Let that sink in. At safety, they had Ed Reed, who picked off 9 passes and took 2 of them back for touchdowns on his way to a Hall of Fame career. Next to him was Sean Taylor. And here's the absurd part. Sean Taylor wasn't even a starter. One of the most feared hitters in NFL history was sitting on the bench because Miami was that loaded. At cornerback, Philip Buchanan and Mike Rumph, both first-round picks. At linebacker, Jonathan Vilma and DJ Williams, both first-rounders, both Pro Bowlers. Up front, Vince Wilfork anchoring the defensive line, eventually becoming a 5-time Pro Bowler and the centerpiece of 2 Super Bowl defenses. Alongside him were William Joseph and Jerome McDougal, also first-round picks. 6 first-rounders on defense alone, and they played like it. Over the entire season, Miami allowed just 13 total touchdowns, only 5 passing touchdowns. Quarterbacks didn't just struggle against this defense, they panicked. Miami finished with 27 interceptions and 39 sacks, turning games into nightmares by the second quarter. That dominance peaked on the biggest stage. In the Rose Bowl, the national championship game, Miami faced Nebraska and Heisman Trophy winner Eric Crouch.
I was very confident going into the game, and I was just out to prove everybody wrong because all week, all I heard was about him and all the hype about him. So.
Whose option offense had shredded defenses all season. By halftime, Miami led 34-0. The game was over before it ever began. Final score 37-14. Crouch was completely neutralized, and the defense even scored a touchdown of its own. That wasn't just a win, that was a statement. Now, this is where the conversation usually shifts to LSU, and it should. The 2019 LSU Tigers had one of the most explosive offenses college football has ever seen. Joe Burrow threw for 60 touchdowns and over 5,600 yards on his way to the Heisman Trophy. LSU went 15-0, beat 7 top 10 teams, took down Alabama on the road, dismantled Georgia, and handled Clemson in the title game. They averaged 48 points per game. That offense was historic, there's no debate there. But here's the problem. Miami's defense would have destroyed them. You think Joe Burrow is throwing 60 touchdowns against Ed Reed roaming the secondary? You think he's comfortable with Jonathan Vilma and Vince Wilfork collapsing the pocket snap after snap? You think Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson are running free against Philip Buchanan, Mike Rumph, and a backup safety named Sean Taylor? It's not happening. LSU averaged 48 points per game. Miami allowed 9.8. Ed Reed picks Burrow off multiple times. Miami controls the clock, and the game is over by the fourth quarter. Let's talk talent, because this is where the gap becomes impossible to ignore. LSU had 14 players drafted in 2020 with 5 first-round picks. That's impressive, truly. But Miami had 38 players drafted from one roster. 17 went in the first round. That's not close. And the difference isn't the starters, it's the depth. Sean Taylor was a backup. Willis McGahee was 4th on the depth chart. Frank Gore was a freshman reserve. All became Pro Bowlers. Some became legends. Most of LSU's backups became solid contributors, with the exception of the talents like Burrow, Chase, and Jefferson. But regardless, Miami's backups became stars. That's the difference in levels. LSU's defense in 2019 was good. They allowed around 22 points per game. Miami's defense allowed under 10. Miami was number 1 in scoring defense, number 1 in pass defense, and number 1 in turnover margin. LSU's defense was good enough to win a championship. Miami's defense was good enough to win without an offense. So, in a hypothetical matchup, who wins? LSU's passing attack was elite, no question, but Miami's secondary locks them down. Ed Reed and Sean Taylor turn the middle of the field into a danger zone. On the ground, Clinton Portis and Frank Gore run behind an offensive line LSU can't control, and defensively, it's not a debate. Miami is on another planet. Final score, Miami 34, LSU 13, and that's being generous. Because Miami didn't just beat teams, they ended seasons. Eric Crouch won the Heisman. Miami held him to 14 points in the title game. If that defense did that to him, imagine what they'd do to anyone else. And here's the reality LSU fans don't want to hear. Every great team gets compared to the 2001 Miami Hurricanes. Every single one. Texas in 2005, LSU in 2019, Alabama in 2020. And every time, the answer is the same. Great teams, not better than Miami. College football has changed. The transfer portal, NIL deals, conference realignment. You're never seeing 38 future NFL players on one roster again. You're never seeing 17 first-round picks from one team again. The 2001 Miami Hurricanes were lightning in a bottle. They proved it on the field, 12-0, national champions, Hall of Famers, Pro Bowlers, total dominance. Final verdict, LSU's offense was incredible, but Miami's defense was better. Miami had more talent, more depth, more stars, and more impact at every level of the game. The 2001 Miami Hurricanes are the greatest college football team of all time, and it's not close. Miami or LSU? Who do you think wins? Drop it in the comments, and subscribe for more breakdowns like this.